We have taken Lord Suruga's head!
Onimusha Warlords is a 2001 Resident Evil-inspired hack-and-slash-action adventure that tells the story of Samanosuke Akaki, a samurai battling against the forces of Nobunaga Oda. And following Oda's death, Samanosuke must rescue Princess Yuki from demons working alongside Nobunaga's forces. Essentially, Onimusha is a more mature take on what Mario did in 1985. In both its survival horror-esque demonic nature and how its story, while still incredibly simple, even by 2001 standards, plays out. Much like Resident Evil, which Onimusha was originally a spin-off of sorts of, Onimusha features fixed camera angles, painful tank controls, an underground lab, a supernatural plot, the ability to control a man and a woman, an inventory system with limited save spots, healing items, and is one of the shortest games you will play. With gameplay lengthened by backtracking, puzzles, key items, and having to use menus for everything. Basically, if you've played Resident Evil, you'll be right at home in baby's first Resident Evil. But onto the review. The strong points in this barely above average game are that when there is music, it's mostly good and is suitably atmospheric, the environments and the level design and the way it all comes together makes this game immersively atmospheric, and that when the camera isn't fighting you like a crack addict at Walmart, the gameplay can be quite satisfying. The gameplay, while initially appearing simple, is a lot like Dark Souls in how you're expected to know timing, dodging, blocking, when to attack and such. But as far as the negatives, this game, for me at least, and I'm aware that it's an old game, 20 years at this point, the story is overly simplistic and short, the camera and tank controls feel needlessly restrictive and actively work against you, feeling less like an evolution of the series that inspired it but more like a dated mechanic that tries to force fear out of you without working for it. The dub, while of the time, is a lot like a flaccid cock. It's kind of cool I guess, but it'd be a lot better if it was of more substance. At this point it may sound like I just don't like Resident Evil games, but I do. I greatly enjoyed Resident Evil 7 and the Resident Evil 2 remake, and I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but that's honestly just how it is with this game. It only took me 3 hours and 49 minutes to beat for those curious, not speed running, and even this brief review feels elongated. But what would I rate Onimusha Warlords? Well, all things considered, I would personally give it a 6 out of 10, although I can see the argument for it being a 7 out of 10 or even an 8 out of 10.